Good morning. I am having a little adventure today. I'm in our camper van Pete, and I've got my little buddy Macadoodle with me. I've only brought one dog and I'm on my own. I'm having a solo road trip. I'm actually heading up to Cumbria to see my brother, which is about a 4-hour drive, which is pretty impressive, bearing in mind that a couple of weeks ago I wouldn't drive this thing. I was a bit nervous driving it, but I had some eye movement therapy, which I'll tell you about in a bit, to help me get over my fear of driving it, because I've driven vehicles this big. It's a 6-metre Peugeot Boxer, and I've driven vehicles this big in the past, but I got a bit of a mental block when we got this van and I wouldn't drive it. So this is my first time driving it without Mark with me, and you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. Instead of just doing a little trundle around locally, I've decided to do a 200-mile trip. Well, it's going to be 450 miles or so in total. And I'm also going to be kind of off-grid camping in it tonight, although I might have electric hookup depending on whether my cable will reach my brother's house. So I've just had a quick stop off. We've been driving for about an hour and a half. I've just had a quick stop off to let Macadoodle stretch his legs and have a little comfort break. I've also not eaten yet, so I'm going to have a few peanuts en route. The drive's been really nice actually so far. I thought it might be a bit busy. It's a bit of a boring drive. It's pretty much dual carriageway all the way, which in some ways is good. Can you hear my paper rattling? In some ways is good, but it does get a bit boring. The first half hour was kind of country roads, which was quite nice. But anyway, I'm going to set off and I will talk to you in a bit. Let's see if we can get this thing moving. There we go, we're off. So there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to do this road trip on my own. First of all, and the most important one, is to say goodbye to my brother, because he's about to emigrate to Cyprus. And we lived in Cyprus for 3 years, so I know where he's going. Oh, I think I've got a door open. Blast, I'm going to have to go and pull into another... I have to pull into another parking lay-by and shut the door properly. We just keep an eye out to see when the next... Oh, here's a parking space. Let's see if it's empty. That's annoying, isn't it, when you've only just got going? Oh, half a mile. I'm indicating a bit soon. Oh, I think it's a bit busy in this lay-by as well. Let me wait for the next one, I think. It's on a bit of a curve in the road as well, so you haven't got a very good view of what's coming when you try and pull back out again. I'm guessing it's probably the side door that I've not fully closed. Now I'm not seeing any bloomin' lay-bys. Oh, here we go, here's one. That's quite a gap. Normally they're quite frequent, but that took a while to find one. Let's see if this one's free. The last one was really busy. Yeah, it looks empty. Right, let me go and see if I can figure out what's going on with this door. You all right there, buddy? Just give me a second, yeah? Good lad. Let's have a little look. Right, that's good. That's closed it. Now let's sort this camera out because it's playing up as well. There we go, I think that's done. Alrighty, we're off again. nice long straight behind me so I can see when it's clear, which it is now. The handbrake is in the most ridiculous place on this van. Okay. Here we go, we're up. Right, so what was I saying before the door so rudely opened? So yes, so I'm going up to see my brother because he's emigrating to Cyprus. And of course that's not to say he'll never come home again, of course he will. But I might not see him for a little while. And it's nice actually, because my brother and I, there's 5 years difference between us. He's 5 years older than me. And I wouldn't say we've always seen eye to eye. In fact, we still don't see eye to eye on everything, but that's normal, isn't it? But we've got really quite close in this last few years. Bizarrely, one of the things that's brought us closer is YouTube, because he's got a couple of YouTube channels, both of them doing quite well. If you want to check them out, his first one is in fact it used to be that Micro Four Thirds guy. I'm not sure if that's still what it's called, but basically he used to be a professional photographer and he still does some professional photography, but he's also mad into Micro Four Thirds as a system, a photographic system, and the benefits of using a Micro Four Thirds system. If you don't know what that is, I don't suppose it's really that interesting if you're not into photography, but basically you've got like full frame, or you've got a smaller sensor, which is an APS-C, I think it's called. I think that's what my Nikon camera is. And then you've got a Micro Four Thirds, which is like, I think 4/3 the size of a full frame. Anyway, that's what his hobby is, and that's what he loves, and that's what his channel is about. But his other channel that he started last year is called The Path to Paphos, which is all about his emigration journey, and that's doing really well as well. It's only been up and running about 6 months or so, but he's recently got monetized, so that's fabulous. So I'll be able to follow his travels and follow his journey on his YouTube channel, but also because we talk an awful lot, we probably talk once or twice a week now, which was unheard of for many years. And I think YouTube has done that because he's been really supportive of my channel. I like to support both of his, and he's always sort of come and supported me if I do a live stream or anything like that. So YouTube has been really interesting for us. But it does mean I'm probably not going to see him for a little while, hence why I'm going up to see him. But the other couple of reasons, one is, as I said earlier, when we got the van, I was a bit scared to drive it, and that fear sort of grew and grew and grew, and it was totally misplaced fear, because I've driven minibuses. I drove in my 20s. I remember going out to Cyprus before we lived there. My husband Mark is a runner and an orienteer, and he was doing something called the Cyprus Walkabout, which is I'm trying to think if it's over 3 days or is it 1 day? I can't remember now, that's that long ago. But basically you run up the Troodos Mountains, navigating different orienteering stops, and then run back down. And they were in training when he was in the Air Force, and I went across as a driver to drive the teams up into the mountains for their training events. So before I'd ever lived in Cyprus, I went out and was driving like 14 heckling blokes around in the back of a minibus, and I had no qualms about that at all. I had a very old, out-of-date map, so I didn't even really know where I was going. Thankfully in Cyprus they do drive on the left, so driving, road orientation and things wasn't any different to the UK, except the roads back then, we are talking nearly 30 years ago, the roads back then in Cyprus weren't ideal, and the map didn't really reflect what was on the ground. But I still didn't, I wasn't fazed. It didn't bother me. I was quite happy doing that. And at other times in my life, I've driven minibuses at work. I remember taking a group of guys that I worked with down to the Imperial War Museum in London, just on the outskirts of London, in a minibus the size of this. So I don't know why I got this block in my mind about driving it, but I did. But anyway, I have a friend, Deborah, who is qualified in this eye movement therapy. It's not EMDR, it's I can't remember, I'll have to put it on the screen. I've talked about it in another video on our other channel, but it's this sort of eye movement therapy where you use eye movements to desensitize and kind of dilute the emotion that sits behind whatever the issue is. So for me, it was the fear of driving, and it was so clever. I mean, I was very skeptical, if I'm honest. It was only the fact that I know Deborah and I trust her that I thought, well, I'll give it a go. But my God, in an hour, she completely removed that fear. So the next day I went out with Mark and we drove around in the van and I did a bit of manoeuvring. And I think this road trip, just me and old Macadoodle down here, it feels like this is the ultimate proof that that fear has gone. I can't say I'm not a little bit nervous, but it's not really for the driving. The nervousness is, oh my God, when you've got a camper van, there's so many blooming things to remember, like turning the gas off and shutting the toilet and making sure that you're not still hooked up to the electric when you drive off, and all these things, knowing how to use the electric and gas trimmer heater, the panel for the heating and the power, and there's just a million things that you have to remember to do. And normally when I'm driving with Mark, we'll kind of work between us to make sure we remember everything. I have got a checklist that should remind me, but also a lot of things he does. When we get to a campsite, I tend to do the stuff inside and he goes out and does the outside stuff. Well, I'm not staying on a campsite. I'm actually kind of wild parking, which isn't very wild, to be honest, because I'm going to be outside my brother's house. But I'm staying in the van. I'm not staying in his house. I'm staying in the van. Hopefully my electric cable will reach a power socket in his house, so I will have some electricity, so I don't have to run the heating off gas, because I think it is still March, so I think it's probably going to be a bit chilly overnight. But yes, so just doing this trip on my own is it's kind of a challenge to myself that I'm over the fear of driving this thing, and that if I want to go away in future, I'm going to be okay, And it's also, just a road trip is nice, isn't it? It's a nice adventure. So yeah, I've got my Irish music playing. My Irish traditional folk music always lifts me up and makes me feel happy. So I've got that playing, obviously not now because I don't want copyright stuff going on. But when I turn the camera off, the music goes on. So I'm singing away and tapping away on the old steering wheel, and all is really, really good. It does help that it's a nice sunny day. It's nice and mild. And the roads so far, touch wood, have been really clear. So yes, all is good. We're going to probably stop and have a little bit of lunch in a little while, aren't we? We're not due to get to my brother till about 2:30, so I might wait until then and just grab something when we park up at his house. We'll see how we got on. We did stop for a little leg stretch, but I think we were right on the edge of the A1, and I think you were a little bit nervous, buddy, weren't you? You didn't like having all the traffic going by, so we might find somewhere a little bit quieter to pull over and have another leg stretch in an hour or so. All right, I will talk to you in a little bit.
place called Rickaby Park, which is on the outskirts of Carlisle, which has hundreds of people who come and walk the dogs, and that's just what we're going to do now with Mac.
We're going to take Mac. We haven't brought your dogs though, because
No.
3 is a
Was that professional
crowd.
enough? Did I look as if I knew what I was doing on camera?
No, you never know.
I never know.
You know what you're doing on camera.
Never do.
You go which way?
That way towards the city.
Is that a way got a cafe?
No, we'll have to come back to the car for a cafe. But don't worry about it.
Right, okay.
We'll take the doggy
this
for a walk
This is beautiful,
first.
actually. Right, let's just, because I've literally been here about an hour. You got me sorted at your house. Although I'm actually sitting in the van. That's a first for me to sleep in the van on my own as well. It'd be interesting.
If anybody has few enough brain cells to dare to watch one of my videos, this is my usual place for doing reviews of tripods for some reason. Nothing else, just tripods.
I have mentioned already in the video that you've got 2 YouTube channels, so do go and check it out. But I'm just going to turn you around and show you this place. It's beautiful. Let's do the obligatory pan. That's going to be very silhouetted because the sun is shining beautifully on the... What is it, a river? Is it the river?
This is the River Eden.
The River Eden.
One of 3 that flows into Carlisle.
Do they converge?
Yeah, they do, in Carlisle, in the middle of Carlisle. Just on the outskirts. So
What a lovely little bit of space.
the Petrel, the Eden and the Coldew.
I'll tell you what, it's decidedly cooler up here than it is down south.
It is.
Right.
It's
He wants
decidedly
to
cooler up here than it is in Cyprus for me.
He wants to get going. Okay, come on, give me some facts about Carlisle.
Carlisle. I'll switch my microphone back on again.
Okay.
Give you some facts about Carlisle. Carlisle is a border city. It's changed hands between the Scots and the English dozens of times over the years.
And it's now English, for
and
those
it's
who aren't in the
English,
UK, who may
yeah.
not know.
So we're about, currently we're about 10 miles south of the Scottish border at Gretna. We're going over the Eden Bridges here, which was the main A6. So this was the main route between London and Scotland, London and Glasgow.
Was that, so we wouldn't have used the, what is now the M1 or the A1, because the A1 is an old Roman road, isn't it?
They are both old Roman roads. The A1 was the eastern side, which took you from London to Edinburgh. The A6 was the one which brought you up to Glasgow.
Okay.
And took the west coast. And they basically, the railway systems that you had the London North Eastern Railway, which basically had the Flying Scotsman and Mallard that in the 30s. That was the one that did the eastern side. The western side is hillier, much more hilly than the eastern side, and this was London, Midland and Scottish. And they had bigger trains, but not quite as fast. Not far off, but not quite as fast.
Am I right in thinking Carlisle is the smallest city in England?
No, it's a third largest. No, it's the second largest by land area, beg your pardon. As a city centre, it's tiny, but Carlisle goes 15 miles out in all directions. So what's officially the city is massive, and it's only Birmingham that's bigger. City of London is tiny, of course. So London isn't a large city. What we see as London is a collection of different areas.
Right, okay.
But Birmingham is bigger than this, but Manchester isn't. Very historic city. It still has its castle, which is known as the Sand Castle, because it looks like a sand castle. Has a 11th century cathedral, which has got beautiful ornate ceiling on it, if ever you get into it. It's quite a small cathedral, but it's very, very historic and very pretty. Carlisle also had the first mainland post box in the UK.
No, did it?
Yep. We're going to pass it in a few moments, a long place called Botchergate. There's a replica of it in the city centre now, but the original one, there's currently a wall-mounted post box there, but The very first post box was, I believe, on some of the islands, maybe in the Isle of Wight, but the first one on the UK mainland was in Carlisle. Yeah, she's turned around.
The beauty of the Pocket 3.
She's turned around after all the picturesque places have gone past.
Yeah, we have. We're now going down. Just a road, really.
Yes, we're going to go on to what's becomes London Road. It's Botchergate. It's the same road as the bridge that we were on before, but after the city centre. So when we turn left at the bottom, this is the main road which would have taken us to London. In the distance you may be able to see, but I doubt it on the camera, you may be able to see the railway lines, but there's also a stone type wall at the far side through the gap.
Nice wall with sort of arches.
Well, that's the back of Citadel Station.
Okay. So we had a nice coffee and went back to Brian's house, had a nice Chinese takeaway in his caravan before turning in for bed. Okay, so first night in the van on my own, and I can't be bothered to put the whole bed up as a double bed, so I've just pulled out one side, going to sleep in it as a single. Had a really lovely night chatting with my brother, catching up on just all sorts of things really before he goes to Cyprus. And I've got my little dog with me. I don't know where he's gone. Where have you gone? Are you coming up? Come on then, buddy. So I've got my my doggy partner for the night. Yeah, I'm gonna make the bed up, get myself ready for bed, probably watch a bit of YouTube in bed, and get myself, yeah, settled for the night. First ever night on my own in the van. I am plugged up to the electricity. Thankfully, my cable reaches to my brother's house, so I've got electric heating, which is nice. So it's nice and cosy in the van. Good morning. Well, that was a really good night's sleep. I woke up about 4:20, but not for any other reason than I just woke up. I didn't hear any noises or anything like that. It was nice and quiet. I did have a bit of a moment at about 11 o'clock where I suddenly thought, I can't tell if the van's locked. I couldn't figure out how to tell if the van was locked from the inside, because if I tried to open it, obviously it would open. So I ended up calling my brother saying, are you still up? Can you come and check the van from the outside? Which he did, and it was locked. I think I just needed that little bit of peace of mind. So it is now 10 past 7. So I'm going to get up, I'm going to take Mac for a little walk, make the bed up, get some breakfast and start the day. I'm heading off back home around about midnight, so I don't know what we've got. I don't know what we've got planned for this morning, but I'm sure we'll do something. Right, hello, who's this? Mac. Where's he gone? He's not playing, he's shy this morning. I think he needs to go out. Right, time to get up. Having to do all the jobs that Mark normally does while I'm doing the inside jobs in the van. He normally takes the dogs out for their morning walk. But actually it's really nice. We've got a really big field, you can see behind me. Huge big playing field. Oh, right outside where my brother lives, not far from where he lives anyway. And it's a really good space to walk the dog, so just going to get out for a bit of a walk this morning. I might do a few laps of this field, give him a really good long bit of walk before we go back to the van and tidy it all up. That is the other thing, I've now got all the jobs to do, but that's okay. That's okay. I didn't even bother making up a double bed last night, so I've only got one bed to put away. Right, let's crack on. It's a bit of a grey, miserly day here in Cumbria. Hopefully it'll get brighter. Yesterday was beautiful, but you know, it is what it is. It's not that cold, but I'm very glad for my bean bag, my dry robe. It's not a dry robe, it's a different make, but the same thing. But oh my God, they're so warm. Right, let's crack on. Not the nicest of days. Made a big mistake as well. I just popped my Skechers on this morning, and of course they're not waterproof and the grass is very wet, so I got very wet feet. Never mind, I've got other shoes in the van. Okay, time to get this lot all put away and hello buddy, then get some breakfast on the go. I think he's had his breakfast and a nice walk. It was a bit wet and miserable out there, but it's not cold, which is the main thing. I never mind really if it's a bit drizzly, but I hate it when it's drizzly and cold. So that's that done. Gonna get the bed and everything put away. It was more important that he got out for a walk so he could, you know, do what he needed to do, and he did a lot of it. First thing, then have his breakfast, so he's all settled, and I know he's taken care of, then I don't have to worry. But I think we'll get, hello buddy, are you enjoying this bed? Yeah, best make the most of it. Oh look, you're getting muddy feet all over it, what you like? Because it's going away. Right, let's crack on, and then I'm going to have some breakfast. I probably ought to brush my hair as well, because I didn't do that before I went out. Give me a kiss. Oh, you smell of dog food. Right, let's go. Down you go, sweetheart. Way down. Oh, 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 oh. Off, 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 off. No, you got to go down. I can't make the bed. Oh, there we go. Right. Oh, look, you got paw marks all over the quilt cover. Oh. Right, that'll need to go in the wash when we get home. I love my mattress topper. It just makes these beds so much more comfortable. Okay, now we have a problem, because you need to get up again. You don't like this, do you? Right, come on, baby. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on. You're not budging. You're hard to see in amongst that, Mac. Right, you gotta get up. You gotta get up, boy. He's definitely not happy this morning. Come on, otherwise you're gonna end up in the cupboard. I know you love this quilt, because like a teddy bear. Oh, you gotta see this. Mac, you can't do that to the quilt. No. Oh my God, he's trying to hump the quilt. Right, come on. Come on, baby. Oh, off we go. Off the quilt. Come on. No! Off. Off the quilt. No. Come on. Off, 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 off. Oh. Right, I'm going to have to get strict now. Mike. You are determined, aren't you? Yeah, come play with your toy. Where's your toy? Get your toy. Where's your toy? Go get it. You got it? Hey, job done. Job done. Fooled ya. Fooled ya. Right, go play. Go play. Sorted. You done? Are you finished? Alexa, turn off. Let's get some breakfast on the go here. Kettle for the all-important cup of tea. I think I'm going to have pancakes. I bought some pancake mix from Lidl a couple of weeks ago, and I think I'm going to give those a go. Protein pancakes, no idea if they're any good. I tell you what I love, these bottles are brilliant, these 2-litre mega water bottles. I carry 2 of them in the van with fresh drinking water, because I don't really like getting water out of the tap. I've got some fresh farm eggs as well that a lady at the campsite that we were at the weekend gave me. So I could have a couple of nice fresh boiled eggs, but I think I'm going to try these pancakes. I don't know what they're going to be like. High protein chocolate chip pancakes. Let's have a look how we make them. Tell you what though, I think our imagination is our worst enemy. I was lying here last night and really, you know, I'm in a nice residential area. It's very quiet. It's a nice place. But I still felt like my imagination was imagining all sorts of things. It was imagining noises. It was imagining people rattling the door. Nobody did. And actually there weren't even any noises. There was barely a car went past until this morning. I think the first car I heard was about 6:30. So very quiet. But yeah, my imagination, if I'd let it, was playing real tricks on me. And in the end, I kind of had to think, it's a Mel Robbins trick actually, where you visualise. I'm not very good at visualising, to be honest, but you kind of imagine where you're going to be after what you're worried about is done. So she uses the example of being on a flight. If you're frightened of flying, you imagine getting off the flight at the other end and hugging whoever has come to collect you from the airport and give them a big hug. Because if you're giving them a hug, then you must have been all right on the flight. Makes sense, doesn't it? So I sat there last night, I lay there in bed last night with all these stupid imaginations going on in my head. So I thought, right, let's switch this, because none of them are true, are they? None of them are true. It's all in our head. So instead, I started to imagine taking Mac for a walk this morning, which is exactly what we've just been and done, and making breakfast, because I thought, well, if I take him for a walk and I'm making breakfast, I must have had an okay night. There can't have been anything happen. And actually it really worked. So I was much calmer and then went off to sleep. I think this is something that the more you do, the easier it'll get, because you just get comfortable. It's like when you move into a new house, isn't it? Or if you're staying in a strange house. Houses have their own noises and creaks and quirks. And I think it's the same thing. I just have to get used to the noises that the van has, which I don't notice when I've got Mark with me, which makes me even more aware that they're just my imagination playing tricks, because when he's here, I'm not anxious and I don't worry. And nothing changes between him being here and him not being here, other than my imagination. Mac had a good night. He's having a nice little sleep here. He slept with me last night, and he's just on his bed. He kept me company, kept me snuggled, and he's no bother at all. It's quite nice having him here though, because I think if anybody did try the doors or anything like that, I know he'd bark, and I think just him barking might be enough to kind of scare them off. But there was no barks or anything last night. He was quiet as a mouse. Okay guys, so I think it's thickened up a little bit, so shall we see if I can actually get it to fry. I don't know whether to do it in the Ridge Monkey. I think that's probably a good idea actually. I'll do them in the Ridge Monkey, because then I can have two going at once. Guys, I hope this works. Let's try this one. Oh, do you know what? Maybe not so bad. Oh, that's a bit well done. Okay, I think that one's not too bad. Actually, this one looks... Oh, look how look how black that is. Oh dear. And I've burnt my finger as well. That wasn't good. Are you sure about this? Here goes. Actually not bad. Even if it is a little bit burnt on the bottom. There you go, darling. All sorted, all strapped in. We're a bit of a mess in the front here, aren't we? Never mind. Okay guys, so we are on the last leg of our journey home. We got stuck in a bit of a traffic jam, but other than that the journey's been pretty good. just stopped to get something to eat because I realised I hadn't eaten since breakfast, and to give Mackadoodle a little stretch of his legs. And I think we've probably got 4:30, 5:30, about another hour and a half drive. But all in all, it's been good. If you're still with me, thank you so much. I appreciate you hanging around. If you haven't already, please do consider giving me a subscribe and a thumbs up, and leave a comment about this vlog. All those little simple things that you do that don't cost anything and are pretty quick and easy mean that it really helps this channel to grow, and we would really appreciate your help in that. So thanks again for sticking with me. I'm going to leave it there for this week. Next time I'll be back on the road with Mark in tow. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days for me. I feel like it's boosted my confidence massively. I feel really happy with how the last couple of days has gone. The only disaster were my burnt pancakes, so I can live with that. So I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye bye. Ready? Let's go. Okay.